All right, good morning. The committee on parole is called to order. It's 9:02 a.m. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chair of today's parole panel, and my colleagues this morning on the panel are Mr. Danny Byra, Mr. Pete Freeman. We're at DOC headquarters, so would the staff here introduce yourself for the record? Yes.
Devin Cavalier.
Parole Williams. Great, thank you. And we, our remote location this morning is at Louisiana State Penitentiary. Warden, would you and your staff please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, Deputy Warden Rochelle Ambo.
Reginald Admiral, classification.
Carmen Shipley, Vendor Records.
All right, thank y'all for accommodating us this morning. And our first case this morning is Mr. Bradley. Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is James Bradley, 322205.
All right. And let me, you have counsel with you this morning. Counsel, would you introduce yourself?
Good morning, Board. Adrienne Hutchison, attorney for the Louisiana Parole Project, representing Mr. James Bradley.
Right. And we have also joining us in favor by Zoom, we have Andrew Hunley with the Parole Project, Rich Bradley, Mr. James Bradley's brother, and there at Angola is Katie Mino, an intern.
Yes, ma'am.
Here with us, we do have opposition with us here in Baton Rouge. Roger Fulmer, Martha Austin, and I can't see that last name. It's Coon. Patience Coon. All who will be speaking and we'll call on them at the appropriate time to do so. First, Mr. Bradley, let me read some identifying information into the record. You are classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a life sentence. You were sentenced in February 2017 in Ouachita Parish for second degree murder. You received a life sentence. You have another sentencing in Claiborne Parish in November of 2000 for simple escape type 1. You received a 5-year sentence. Your parole eligibility date was April 17, 2018. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Mr. Bradley, your case this morning has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay, Mr. Bradley, tell me what you did to get yourself put in prison and what have you done to make you think that you are ready for release today?
On that day, my day started off like it normally did, with drugs and alcohol, and which led to the events of that day of me causing irrevocable pain and suffering to the former family. I went to school that day and I skipped out to go drinking and drugging. And I was riding around town with a friend of mine. We went all over Monroe to the mall, friends' houses, and continued to do drugs. And as the day wore on, and I told him to take me to my house. I'd been talking before about leaving Monroe, still in a car, even if I had to, even killing somebody to do so. And that day I had my mind set on doing it. And he dropped me off at my house. And after he dropped me off at my house, I continued to intoxicate myself. And I went out on my front porch. And to the right of me, my neighbor had stepped out and he picked up something. I don't remember what it was, a newspaper or something. And he waved at me. And I saw him and I saw his car. And I made my decision then that that's what I was going to do. And I went next door and I knocked on his door. And Mr. Fulmer let me in. He was always nice. He was always polite, always willing to help. And I asked him, could I use his bathroom? And I went and I used the bathroom. And when I came out, and I shot him. I shot him for his car. And I ran outside to get in the car, and the keys weren't in the car. And so I went back in the house. I went back in the house and I searched his pockets, and I found the keys and I found his wallet. And I got in his car and I took off and I went to a friend of mine, Miranda's house, her apartment. And they had some people that I went to school with, and they remembered me talking before about stealing the car and leaving. And so they asked me, did I really do it? And I'm ashamed to say I bragged on it. I said I shot him in the back of the head. And after that,
Thank you.
a friend of mine, Ryan Foster, got into the car and I took off to Magnolia, Arkansas. That's where my mama lived. And a few days later, I was arrested by Columbia County Sheriff's officers. And
So why should we let you out today?
at the beginning of my incarceration, it started like a lot of my life on the streets. Drugs, bad influences, bad behavior, loss of hope. I didn't care about myself. And throughout the years, and it's sad for me to say that it took Angola for me to find my village. It was people like Warden Lamontnier and Warden Tim Delaney who saw better in me and gave me a chance. And then after that, people like Lieutenant Griffey and Miss Angela Butler, who saw my problem with drugs and reached out to help me. And I accepted the help because I'd wanted it. I never had people like that can have care and concern for me. And they showed me the better in me, that I could be more than I was. And so I went to the behavior management program. And after graduating there, they gave me an opportunity to make a difference, to actually accomplish some things, to have some meanings, goals, you know, to live with a purpose. And it gave me the opportunity to help other addicts, to help save lives here. They also gave me the opportunity to be a member of the Pause program, where I was able to train therapy dogs and service dogs to help wounded veterans. It gave me an opportunity to become a facilitator and help teach. And through this, I gained a passion in helping others and realizing how much helping others helped me help myself. And through that, and if granted the grace and the mercy of parole today by the board, upon my release, I will be going to the parole project and continuing outpatient care with Sanctuary. Upon completing my classes and the things necessary at the parole project, I plan on going to Indiana with my brother and never return to the state. Because I know the victim's family doesn't want to see me. I don't want to cause them any more pain or suffering than I already have.
Okay,
And then from there, I'll be working with my brother doing interior, exterior carpentry work and painting.
Okay, all right, well, let's move on. Warden, what do you have to tell us about, Mr. Brad?
Mr. Bradley, is a minimum aid trustee. He's assigned to maintenance. He has, completed a plethora of, programs, that include victim awareness and the letter training. He also did anger management and substance abuse. He do have a GED. He's a PAWS trainer, which is our, prisoner assistant warrior program where we train dogs to, work with, military veterans that have PTSD or maybe some type of handicap. He participated in the behavior management program, which now he's a facilitator and a mentor. A lot of staff say that he's respectable toward them. I never had any problem with Mr. Bradley. Every time I seen him, he was very respectable and he would do anything that someone asked him to do. Other than that, I don't have anything else on Mr. Bradley.
Okay, all right, Mr. Bradley, let's, move on to, the people that are here in support. Mr. Andrew Hundley from the Parole Project.
Good morning, Andrew Hundley, appearing today to confirm to the board that if Mr. Bradley would be granted parole, he is a client of our organization. We stood by him at his previous parole hearing, and we continue to stand by him in light of his continued progress within the Department of Corrections. He was denied parole, obviously, at his last hearing, but he's continued to participate in programming and improve his lot in life at Angola. We believe that based on the amount of time that Mr. Bradley served, and especially, the way he's dedicated himself to helping others within the prison through the PAWS program, through facilitating programs, and especially addressing the issues that led him to incarceration and the issues that caused him problems when he first was in prison. He's continued to address those, and he has made it clear in conversations with our staff and our social work team that he understands he's got to continue to work on his sobriety. So the reentry plan that we'd like to offer today is really two options that we see the board has. In the event that the board would want to grant him, but immediately see him leave the state, he does have an out-of-state plan with his brother. In that case, we would still ask that he come to Parole Project for some amount of time before he leaves the state, so he could at least participate in the first phase or two of our reentry program. If the board was willing to allow him to stay in the state longer, we would recommend a minimum of 1 year with our program. As you're aware, Mr. Bradley's a juvenile lifer. There's a large network of successful juvenile lifers who've come home over the last several years who have taken a keen interest in Mr. Bradley's reentry. So he has a network of support within the community that would be there to support him. I must also note that in addition to those things, Mr. Bradley is an accomplished artist. So in addition to many of the skills that he's gained, he's one of the better artists that we've seen in recent years in the Department of Corrections. He's an exceptionally accomplished person who committed a horrible offense decades ago, but has turned his life around. And Parole Project's committed that if he's given a second chance today, that we will help him reintegrate into the community with all of the resources that our organization has to offer. And I stand by to answer any other questions the board may have about his reentry plan. Thank you.
You. Okay, Mr. Rich Bradley, your brother.
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, sir.
Tell us what you want us to know about your brother.
My brother, well, as you just heard, he went in when he was just turned 16, barely a man. And he has had to overcome great obstacles on the inside, I can only imagine. But through his resilience in the face of adversity, he has completed many programs. He's become a wonderful, accomplished artist. And if granted parole, he can come live with my wife and I. We live in a small town of Boswell, Indiana, up here in a farm town, in a big old farmhouse. We have 3 dogs and a cat, my wife's son and his wife. We got a big garden. I am a carpenter by trade, and I've hooked up with a contractor here, and we do all kinds of indoor and exterior work. I build furniture, cabinets, and I know with JJ's, his artistic skills, his wanting to excel and succeed, he will have no problem finding work here. And at home here, he will be treated as part of the family. He will always have somebody to turn to if he has anything he needs. I will be here for the smallest to the biggest thing. I will be here for James 24/7. I want to be a big brother to him. We just want him to come home and make us all proud. I'm so proud of how far he's come in all of this. And I just want my brother home so he can live out his life as a free man and benefit society and help other people. That's what we do. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and now we'll go to Miss Adrian Hutchinson, your attorney. Ms. Hutchinson?
Good morning, board. And thank you for hearing us today. I represented James in 2023 before the board. And during that time, both the committee and LST had acknowledged that James had begun to turn the corner. This was the same sentiment that the judge had during his resentencing. And even then, he was still struggling within his addiction. You all have received my packet in there is an explanation of how early his addiction started in his life and how it progressed throughout prison. And within the last hearing, the theme from the committee at that time was to show us more continued growth and maturity. And I believe that James has done just that. He's done what the board had asked of him. He's gained a Class A trustee status, showing that he has showed the institution that he can be trusted with greater accountability in the system. He has maintained his sobriety for the first time in his life for this amount of time. As you know, this started as a very early child with him. He's maintained as a mentor and facilitator for the RDAP program. And part of that, the thing that he's taken great pride in is that he's graduated the most facilitators and valedictorians out of any other mentor in that program in Camp C. He's been a pause trainer and worked with a behavior management program for several years. He's really poured into giving back. And I think most importantly, he understands the harm he caused and is genuinely sorry to the former family. And he knows that he can't provide any reprieve or anything to give back for the hurt he's caused. But he has poured into continuing to help others to atone for the harm that he's put into the community. You'll see that our social work department has found a position for him with the sanctuary for an intensive outpatient programming, so that if he were to come to Louisiana Parole Project, he would still have the social work team with us, but he would also go to IOP. For a group therapy program, he would have his own counselor, so he would have that in addition. Since his last hearing, he's also become a TAPUCO facilitator. So again, showing that he has poured into other people. Even in the height of his addiction, you'll see that he had many accolades and letters because he had done artwork and given back to the community, showing that he's always wanted to do better. He just struggled. Lieutenant Butler, Camp C, they continue to work with him in making sure that he was maintaining his sobriety, and he has thrived. And I believe that he has done everything that the board has asked for him to show the continued growth and maturity that was asked since 2023. And so we just asked the board to give James the opportunity to have a second chance. He would be leaving the state and going on to help his brother and be with his family in Indiana. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna get to the opposition. We have Roger Fulmer, Martha Austin, and Patience Kuhn. Y'all decide who wants to go first and step up to the podium.
Just one thing,
Yes, sir.
you know, it's hard to get up here and say anything. You know, went through this 3 times now. Reliving what happened some 30-something years ago. And he's trying to tell us that in the last 2 years, he's corrected all the past 33 years. And it's hard to believe. It's my contention that he's where he needs to be, where he needs to stay. It's what we agreed upon with the district attorney when he pleaded guilty, that he would have life in prison without parole. And that's where he needs to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next. Yes, ma'am. That's fine.
You have to hold one another.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm the youngest daughter, Jackie Fulmer. I just like my brother said, it's hard to get up here and relive David and I'm glad he's accomplished all those things. But he took a life. My daddy wasn't given a second chance. And I know that in the trial, the psychologist told us that he was an antisocial psychopath and that he would do whatever he had to do to get what he wanted. I just don't believe he needs to be out. He can't do any more to us other than every time we have to come here, we grieve. We grieve.
It brings it all up.
It's like reliving it all over again. Isn't that phone call? Seeing him in court. And this is the first time he's ever showed any remorse.
Amen.
First time. In court, he would smirk. And let me tell you, a 16-year-old boy, they know what they're doing. And it doesn't negate that he was on drugs or alcohol. I raised 2 boys. And they were disciplined. They knew right from wrong. And taking a life.
No, our father didn't have the opportunity to he's gone. And he hardworking man, raised 7 kids. And it's just, I don't see how people can go back when they were it's already been sentenced. You know, when it was done, they wanted the death penalty. The DA did. But we said, no, we want him to have life without the possibility of parole. And every time,
we didn't want to take his life.
no,
We didn't want to take a life. We didn't want to take his life. We did. My daddy was a hardworking man, as he said. My daddy was a good man. He would have done anything in the world for him. He didn't have to kill him. He didn't have to steal his car, and he didn't have to rob my daddy.
if my daddy had the money, if he needed $2 or $3, I mean, whatever, daddy would have handed it over.
I just don't,
I mean, if y'all were in our place, it was your father, a member. I mean, it's something to think about, you know, when you're not in ICU, it's easy to make decisions.
my daddy's missed out on grandkids, great-grandkids. My daddy was in good health. He worked like a horse. And this young man, I don't say a child because he wasn't a child. He's 16 years old. He knew right from wrong. Decided that morning that he would take a gun
It was planned.
and shoot my daddy in the back of the head and stood in front of him and watched him bleed to death. To me, it's horrendous. It's horrendous for anybody.
He was in that game, the co-op or whatever, that does that upside down cross, and he done that in the arm thing of my daddy's vehicle. And then he wrecked it and put it out in the woods, and that's where they found it. The boy knew what he was doing when he did it, because he did it playing. His dad had been taking guns away from him. And he said, Daddy, when I get ready to kill the person I'm gonna kill, I'll find the gun. His daddy turned him in. So what does that tell you right there?
And 2 years ago, we were here, and he didn't get out because of the infractions that he had. It's like my brother said, if it's taking him, he's been in here 33 years.
Yeah.
In 2 years, he can't correct everything that's wrong. He knew he had to do it to get the eligible loan in 2 years.
That's correct. That's what they told me.
That's exactly what they told me. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want him as my neighbor. The psychologist said she wouldn't want him as her neighbor. I just don't know words to express my opinion.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we could talk and talk and talk.
Yes, ma'am.
My daddy was a good man.
I mean, he raised 7 good kids, and
He was a good man. I'm sorry.
I just don't think that, you know, a life for a life, tooth for a tooth. I don't hate him. I don't hate him or anything. I just don't think.
I've forgiven him, but you know, because to be forgiven, you have to forgive. But I don't know. I just
Yes, ma'am.
to lose my daddy the way he died. It's just a horrible thing.
Knowing that he lived his life a good man and had it
And
all
this,
there.
this young man was the next door neighbor. The
Yes, ma'am.
next door neighbor, my daddy had had several times. My oldest child that I lost the same year we went to Parole 2 years ago. Played football with him. I mean, my daddy wouldn't hurt him in any way. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I'm sorry.
Like my brother said, he's where he needs to be.
He does.
Right.
He is. If he's doing such good things, he needs to be there and be a mentor there and
That's
stay
right.
there and mentor some of these others
That's
Okay.
right.
that maybe have not killed somebody.
Thank y'all. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank y'all.
Okay, get back to y'all seats. Okay, Mr. Bradley, now, I'm gonna ask you a few questions. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm a little bit disappointed. Your lawyer said you did everything we asked you to do. I asked you to get in the STAR program. You said you didn't need it. Why?
When you said that, I took it as the suggestion of the STAR program or something like it, so I did all that follow-up, which is 12 months of drug rehabilitation programming, and I did Experiencing God, which contains 12 months of conquering codependency, so I did both of those.
All right, and what did you learn from the victim accountability class? I see you took that in 2024.
I learned the depth of the pain and suffering I caused the family. The fact that at that time, before then, I didn't have somebody like Mr. Fulmer in my life. I didn't have that kind, compassionate, caring person that was there for my every want and need. I didn't have that. So I didn't realize before then what I actually took, the security, the trust, the faith, the hope that I took from that family. I didn't realize it then. And victims awareness helped me see that, the totality of it, the fact that I know I could never fully feel their pain and their suffering because I can't imagine that happening to my father. But it let me know the depth of the hurt and the pain that I caused, and to know that there's nothing I can ever do to take it away. And the man that I took off the face of this earth, that there's no replacing him. What I took from that family, what I took from the community, there was nothing in the world that could take his place.
All right, and You know, and I'm gonna tell you, the reason I recommended the STAR program was because I looked at it and you would take living in balance in 2019, and yet you had 3 intoxications and a contraband after that. So, you know, that's why I recommend. I'm not saying the other program wasn't just as good. I just know the STAR program was pretty good. Okay, you have no write-up since 2008. You, as you see, you have victim opposition. Let's see. No, you have no write-up since 2021. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, 2021. I have no other questions.
Mr. Freeman, this is Ward Nambo, how you doing?
Doing good.
I just want to put in the records that, Mr. Bradley did take the behavior management program, which is also one of our intensive substance abuse programs, and he took that after the hearing and after that write-up that he had, for the intoxication, the 14th.
Okay, thank you very much, Ward Nambo.
You're welcome.
So how long have you been a Class A trustee, Mr. Bradley?
Since January, ma'am.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me about your Tapuku work, mentor. What do you do? Tell me what you get out of that.
Tapuku is a class based on internal motivation rather than dealing with external motivational factors that teach you how to be motivated internally to set SMART goals, which are smart, achievable, manageable, rewarding, and time-bound goals. It also teaches time management. It also teaches to work with the community around you to seek help and support to obtain your goals, to involve others, and to have a goal-oriented life.
And so what do you personally get out of? You work with others?
Yes, ma'am. What I get out of is a sense of accomplishment and helping others to achieve their goals as I achieve mine as well.
What do you think it was that, got your attention and made you turn the corner and start working on you?
It was a combination of certain people in the administration, as I said earlier, like Tim Delaney and Warden Lamontnier and Colonel Griffey. Well, he's a colonel now. He was a lieutenant then. And Miss Butler that saw the better in me, that they cared. You know, before I didn't see that in the system. I didn't see it. The first time I really program was offered to talk reentry type programs. If I'm right, was in 2013 with 100 hours. And for me, that was a start. But what really got the start of it was when I did Kairos in 2019. And there, seeing how the support with the administration and the people that came from the free world and how they were reaching out to help us, and people from around the world were reaching in, and right there was my start. That broke my shell right there and made me realize that I've been a child for far too long. I had to grow up. I had to take accountability and responsibility for me, my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, and take control of my life.
So I noticed in my notes, I made a note that when you were resentenced in 2017.
Yes, ma'am.
And why did the judge have to excuse you from the courtroom? You remember? The notes say that at your sentencing in 2017, the judge had to excuse you from the courtroom.
I had made an objection. This was in the sentencing phase where he was resentencing me. And I had something, I forget what the mandate was. I don't remember if it was I forget the legal number, the revised
Right.
statute. And my lawyer had suggested that at that time, I object to it. And when I did, the judge says, that's it. I don't want to hear it, Mr. Bradley. And then,
Right. Well, I think what I read somewhere that in doing so, you were very disrespectful. And so I'd say all that. That's why I asked you, when did you start changing? And you say it was after that in 2019, because your record clearly shows that, after that situation that the change started.
yes, ma'am.
I don't have any other questions. Any questions? Ready to vote? All right, Mr. Freeman, we'll take your vote.
Okay, all right, Mr. Bradley, you had a terrific interview. There's no doubt you've listened to the classes you have taken. You have strong law enforcement and victim opposition. Got to have a longer period of sobriety. It's only been since 2021 since you had your last Rule 14. And I'm sorry, before that, it was just too bad. I got to see it. So I just don't think it's quite your time. My vote is to deny.
Mr. Byron?
I'm going to concur with Mr. Freeman for the same reasons, deny, but I also am concerned the fact that you didn't do the STAR program, and I would highly recommend before you appear back here again, that you would do it, because it just shows that you're still making bad decisions. You know, what if we give you a parole condition and you decide you want to do a different one instead? How do we know that you're going to do it and not do what you want to do? Before you come back and see us again, I agree with him. You are doing well.
All right, Mr. Bradley, I would give you a chance simply because you have the support of the Parole Project and your brother out of state. I do believe that what I've seen today is sincere. My vote would be to grant to the Parole Project plan and then on to Indiana, but you have to have a unanimous vote. So keep doing what you're doing, and maybe you'll have a different outcome if you come back. Good luck to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, good morning, Mr. Jenkins, good morning. Y'all are on mute still.
We're ready.
There you go. Would you, Mr. Jenkins, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
LEROY Jenkins, 73024.
All right, and you have counsel this morning. Counsel, would you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning. My name is Claire Rubion on behalf of Mr. LEROY Jenkins.
Okay, thank you. And we have there with Mr. Jenkins at Angola, we have other members of the legal team, Sarah Clement and Katie Mino. And on Zoom, we have Mr. Andrew Hundley with the Parole Project. We do have some folks in opposition here with us in Baton Rouge. We have Beverly Trask, Elizabeth Trask, Kieran Peralt, Cheryl Trask Say, Jean Kitchen, Jack Trask, and on Zoom, well, no, excuse me, Jack Trask, Arthur Kitchen, Don Peralt, and William McGee. We also have on Zoom Morgan Trask and John Trask, and we also have the district attorney from West Feliciana Parish. So, Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and I'm going to ask you to verify it, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman, seated to my right, because your case has been assigned to him. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Jenkins, you're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a life sentence. You were sentenced, you have a sentencing date in East Feliciana Parish, December of 2013 for first-degree murder. You received a life sentence. Then in West Feliciana Parish in September of 1983, simple escape type 1, you received a 2-year sentence. Your parole eligibility date was June 17th of 2022. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Right. Ms. Freeman?
Okay, all right, Mr. Jenkins, tell me, what did you do to get yourself put in prison? And a little bit about when you escaped, and then tell me why you think you're ready to get out today.
I went across Mr. Trask's property, and things didn't go well. So I wound up shooting him, and it's been gnawing me ever since. I'm very sorry for doing such a thing, and I said that will never happen again.
Why did you go on his property?
Well, looked like it was intended to be a robbery.
Okay.
I really was trying to search in my mind that I was right about that, but it looked like I couldn't receive it. But that's the way it looked to me. So I shot him, and he fell. His wallet fell on the ground, and I seen it. I went over and grabbed it and took off running. And that's my accountability to doing such a thing. I can say this much: what happened then would never happen again. I was totally out there wrong. God had forgiven me already, but I asked the Trask family to forgive me for trespassing in the first place. If I hadn't went on Mr. Trask's property, things wouldn't have went that way. And young, ignorant, and butt-headed, or whatever you want to call it, that I was. And I wish I could tell the trash family, to forgive me for that. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, and I've been really searching to still find an answer, but even now, after all these years, it's even stronger now, just like it was then. It's just a change in faces, I would say. And but the hurt is still there.
He
All
also
right.
asked you why you escaped. Can you speak to why you escaped, the escape?
Oh, okay. They was I was put here when the prison was crazy. Everybody had a knife, and it would best be you better have that knife on you ready. And I said I wasn't gonna stay here. All that was going on, raping, killing, and young. They just threw me to the wolves. So I said, ain't no way I'm gonna stay here. And one I guess it was morning, I think it was. I seen a clear opening, and some heads were turned the other way. I went across that ditch, and there was a guy with me. I didn't want him because I thought he was going to slow me down, but he kept up with me, and I'm not exactly sure how I got to Baton Rouge and catching that bus. It just to New Orleans. It was a remarkable thing that what happened, and today I can't even explain it. The impossible things that went on during that escape, and it looked like it wasn't escape. The door just opened for me, and I just walked through. I should have never left the prison grounds, knowing that I had a life sentence, but y'all have to forgive me. I just couldn't sit still, and I know I was gonna have to use my knife, because they be those headhunters. They don't, if you're young, they don't care where you come from, who you are. They come to get something, and so I left before that happened.
Gotcha.
He
How long
asked
were
you
you
what
there before you left?
How old?
How long were you at Angola before you left?
I think it was 1972 or 73. I think it was. Yes, sir.
it was about 10 months, I believe.
Okay, all right.
And then to answer, he asked you a third question, Leroy, that I want to make sure that you address. When you came back in 83, you've been here for almost over 40 years since. Why should they let you out today? Why should you get out?
Okay. I think I have over these. I'm 70 years old, and I didn't realize I was that old. I was thinking I was around late 50s, early 60s, and looked like that's the way I feel about it. But I'm looking to get parole back into society with your blessings. Sorry, I haven't, I've been acting crazy, but this parole committee, I asked them to please give me a parole. In fact, parole me out to the parole project. They have a good record. patients that they have. And I've been connected with them for the past 10 years or so. And each time they come, they always put me on the list. And they have been coaching me. And it's been going good. So I ask you to parole me out to them, to their care. And I believe from that point, as far as a plan to work, I had even went that far, helping them washing cars, even trying to get a job at the hospitals, sweeping up, washing dishes. It doesn't matter to me. I know I still have the stamina in me to do some more work and make a nice living for myself. That's all I have.
All right. Okay, well, let's move on. I'm gonna ask you some more specific questions when we come to the interview part. Mr. Hundley at the Louisiana Parole Project.
Andrew Hundley with Louisiana Parole Project, appearing today to confirm to the board that if Leroy is granted parole today, that he would be a client. We've accepted him for our residential reentry program. As Leroy mentioned, we've been seeing him for quite a few years, speaking to him as we do other people who are incarcerated that are parole eligible about what to expect when they come home, and what our program would look like for him. Obviously, because of his age, we would suggest, and because of what his resources are, he would be a long-term client in our program. We would commit for the long term, keeping him in our program, providing him with access to our staff social workers, and he would also be assigned a reentry specialist and peer mentor to work with him, along with our programming and other services. But because of his record over the last several decades, and because of his age, we believe that if he were to be released, he would have no problem with fitting in to our program, transitioning with our assistance, but just confirming he would be a long-term client in our program if he were to be released. And I stand by ready to answer any other questions you may have about his potential reentry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're gonna go to the opposition, and I'm sure Mr. Quilly, you want to go last. That's usually we let the DA go last.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first let's go with Miss Beverly Trask.
On behalf of 5 generations of the Eddie Trask family, I thank you for allowing me to speak today. I'm Beverly Trask, and my father, Eddie Trask, was shot and killed by Leroy Jenkins. My mother was dumped under the steering wheel, driving away as she was chased by Leroy Jenkins, waving a gun in his hand. This happened on Saturday, July the 3rd, 1971. That's 54 years ago, going on 55. It seems like after that length of time that things would have become smooth, but I because Eddie and Gina Trask gave me life. They are the reason I exist. And I would like to tell you what it's like to be a victim. It's life-changing, and it's excruciating to have to go through the number of paroles and different hearings that we have gone through. My father was a very good and honest man. The grandchildren only know of him because they were 4 years old. Jack was 8, so he had a few good memories. But they only know of his death and his killing. And what their brothers, their fathers, my brothers had to go through these hearings over these years. I'd like to share a story. It's a true story. It was a dream that I had, not recently, several years ago, probably connected to one of these hearings. I had a dream that there was a family gathering lots of people there. There was food on the table, there was laughter. I walk into a room where there's fewer people, and sitting in a chair is my father. And I was so ecstatic. I said, Dad, you're alive. And I said, where have you been all these years? And he said to me, he said, this was all made up. It was a mistake. Dreams have funny ways of helping people. But I woke up and I realized that this was not a dream. It was not a mistake. The actions of LEROY Jenkins, as described by my mother in this 1984 cleansing letter, described LEROY Jenkins hiding in a ravine with a stocking over his head and floating gun. He was waiting for them to return from town where my dad had just cashed his Social Security check. And so LEROY Jenkins knew he had money in his pocket. In my mother's letter, she said, my daddy said, what is it that you want? It was exactly the same thing he had said 2 days before when LEROY Jenkins was peering into their window of the trailer. My daddy says, what is it you want? If LEROY Jenkins said, give me your money, he would have. I think he would have just given him. But instead he chose to shoot. He shot him once here and in part. He was a good aim. I don't know what else to tell you on behalf of my father, my mother, people that are here today. I earnestly and heartfeltly ask parole not be given to LEROY Jenkins. This is not done out of any kind of hate or revenge. It is simply because this is what my family, my mother thought. Our society and our legal system designated it as a consequence of killing someone. I want to thank the parole board. This is a letter that my mother wrote. She was an eyewitness. She wrote this in 1984 when LEROY Jenkins was brought back after being escaped from prison for 9 years. The only reason he is in prison is not because law officials were good for him. It was because he applied for a job as a security officer and he was fingerprinted in fingerprints badge. That's the only reason he's in prison. I want to thank the parole board because this letter was written by my mother. These are the facts of that day. She was a first grade school teacher and she wrote the truth. I also want to tell you that because of all the court proceedings that happened, they were in storage unit in Clinton, and bad weather came, and all of those were restored. So there's no records of the truth when LEROY Jenkins actually confessed. So thank you for this, and I appreciate the time and appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Okay, next we will go to Cheryl. I haven't got my board. Cheryl Trask Say.
I'm Cheryl Trask Say. I am the granddaughter of Edward Trask. And I was just a kid when this happened. But I can remember my parents just grieving and crying and just after the event. And I'll never forget that day. My dad was crying. He kept repeating. He didn't ask. He didn't ask. He didn't ask for the money. He just shot him. This whole thing was not necessary. He chose to shoot him. He came with a mask, came with a gun. He had all the options to just ask for the money and leave. I don't think that was his intentions. My grandparents had just spent the night at our house the night before because LEROY Jenkins had been prowling around up there and they were afraid to spend the night there. There's a trailer. So this property is like 83 acres You don't just walk across this house, you have to make an effort. There was banging on the side of the trailer. My grandmother was at the kitchen sink and she saw Leroy Jenkins outside looking in. Just terrified her. She didn't want to go back. So they were afraid to spend the night there. So they came to my house and spent the night and been stalking them. And they even called the sheriff. That didn't do any good. He kept coming back and I don't know why. I don't know why. He wouldn't just leave them alone. If he left alone. And then he saw them in town and took advantage. He knew that they were going to be going to the grocery store. So he met them at their house with a mask and a gun. His intentions were obviously to do harm. Because my grandfather asked, what do you want? He didn't ask for the money. His intentions were to harm. And so I would not trust him. He can be manipulative, he can be conniving. He makes it sound easy to escape from Angola. It's not easy to escape from Angola. He's conniving, he's manipulative. I wouldn't trust him. We spent our whole life with him out. It was like my childhood. I was just afraid that he would show up again. He was stalking my grandparents. I was afraid that he would come back and stalk us some more. There was just this, I was just raised with this fear and this sadness and this grief that just, people had to tell me about my grandfather. So unfortunately, I was very young and I didn't have a lot of memories. I do have some and I cherish them, but people would always come to me and tell me these wonderful stories about my grandfather and how generous he was and how encouraging he was. And I just wish that Leroy had given them a chance to hand over the money. He didn't. And my fear is if he gets out again, I don't trust him. I would not feel safe. Whenever he escaped the first time, he didn't just catch a bus. He held a couple hostage. He left that part out.
Yes.
And he's making it sound easy, but it's not. And I just don't trust him. I don't trust his intentions. I know in the past paroles, he's mentioned about how he's a good Christian man now. That's great. I'm a Christian also. And he's asking for forgiveness. I have really struggled my whole life with forgiveness because this man had a really hard lesson with forgiveness. And I've come to terms, you can forgive, but you still have to suffer the consequences of your actions. Forgiveness doesn't erase what you did. And God can use him in jail. That's wonderful. God can use us wherever we are. It doesn't mean that he needs to be out. I just don't feel safe with this man wandering around anymore.
Okay.
I just don't.
Appreciate it. All right, next we will go to Jean Kitchen.
I'm a Christian too. Oh, the only thing I can say, I'm not gonna be as eloquent as speakers, these other two ladies have tried to be, but I'm gonna tell you the truth as I saw it, and I was there from the beginning. First of all, Mr. Trask, Mr. Eddie Trask was an honorable man. And my brother-in-law, Jack Trask, Mr. Eddie was his hero. Mr. Trask didn't have any vices, just like my brother-in-law. Probably one of the best men I've ever known. And I didn't have any brothers. He was my brother. That's the way he treated me. You know, after Mr. Trask was killed, my brother-in-law was never the same. My brother-in-law was a smart man. But he missed his daddy so much. And he couldn't get it off his mind. Somebody had shot his daddy. He was an honorable man, he walked with a cane. He would help anybody. But I noticed the difference. And then years later, on Christmas Eve, LEROY Jenkins escaped. And my brother-in-law was in town and my sister. They lived in Georgia, South Carolina, that I forget where, South Carolina probably. And Christmas Day, me and my brother-in-law started out before daylight and went to different sheriff's substations. There was 4 or 5 of them. It ended up in Angola to see what was being done about catching. My brother-in-law took it hard. My brother-in-law passed away before they caught LEROY Jenkins. So he had to live with the fact that he was escaped and he didn't know where he was, what was happening. I'm not gonna be up here, and I know that I'm not supposed to talk a long time, but I got one thing I want to tell you. The only thing I can go with is my 2 boys. They love Jack. Now, Jack is my brother-in-law. I'm talking about him. He's the one that passed away grieving the whole time about his daddy dying. But my 2 boys love Jack. In fact, my grandson is named after Jack. Well, I was at home, and Mom and Daddy was up there singing about Jack, and he had suddenly become ill. And he passed away, 42 years old. My daddy called me and said, Daddy, Jane, I got bad news. So what is it? He said, Jack just died. So, oh. So Gene and my 2 boys were gone. So I had to break the news, and then my 2 boys loved Jack. And Jack was grieving, y'all, I'm telling you. But when they got home, I set them all down. And I told them that their uncle had passed away. My little boy, he just buried his head in his mama's lap. Right. My oldest boy, he locked himself in the back room. I could hear him cry. Wouldn't let me in. Excuse me for crying, but it's so tough. But as tough as it is on me, his grandchildren, his daughter, he suffered way worse than that. And it's never stopped. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll hear from the district attorney, Mr. DeQuilla.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good morning. My name is Sam DeQuilla. I'm the district attorney for East and West Louisiana Parish. I would like to thank the board and the committee for allowing me to come make a short presentation to you this morning in opposition to the parole eligibility of Mr. LEROY Jenkins. Know the board committee are familiar with their board policy 7701 POL regarding parole decisions. And I'll go through 1 through 8 of the guidelines just really briefly. First guideline is the nature and consequences of crime. It's a very serious crime. Crime occurred where Mr. Jenkins stalked, shot, looked into robbing Mr. Trask, and he killed him. He went to the penitentiary, he served 10 months, and he was escaping the penitentiary under very violent circumstances. Second, the prior criminal record of Mr. Jenkins. I don't know a lot about his prior criminal record. He was younger when it happened. He probably didn't have a long criminal history at that point, but he did escape from Louisiana State Penitentiary. He did take hostages, and he did live away from the penitentiary for over 9 years. The character and background of him, I really don't know a lot about his character and background. The committee or the board will have a lot more knowledge about his character and background than I would. But I can tell you this, I came here a couple of years ago. The Trask family has been in here numerous times. They've been at every proceeding. They have objected in every way they could. I can tell the last time I was here, seeing Mr. Jenkins, he did not show any remorse at that time. Institutional adjustment, his attitude, his rule violations, I'm not aware of a lot of his rule violations. I didn't do an extensive search about his history at Angola, but I know he's here today to request parole eligibility. I am here today to speak on number 5 of the guidelines, and that is the police, judicial, and community attitude toward the inmate, Mr. LEROY Jenkins. Under A, the committee will evaluate and consider information concerning the inmate from community and public officials. That's why I'm here today. And the community's here today. I've spoken to other people in the community, the sheriff, Mr. Talmadge Bunch. He was a past sheriff. Jeff Travis was a past sheriff. Randy McLaughlin was a past sheriff. During my duration as district attorney, I've been district attorney for 23 years in East Louisiana Parish. The factor is given greater weight because the probability that an inmate will succeed on parole is greatly diminished if he will return to a community that has expressed hostility toward him. We are hostile toward him. Parole plan, you got to say he does have a good parole plan. The parole project, I've worked with him in the past. We work with him with individuals need assistance that they are there to help him, but this is not the case to send somebody to the parole project. Program participation, I don't know a lot about his training. It seemed like the last time we were here just a couple of years ago, he didn't have a lot of training. He didn't have a lot of courses that he was taking at Angola. I don't know if he was in the literacy program, but it seemed like he said he was not involved in a lot of programs at that time. I'm sure that's changed now, because they build and they learn and they know what to do for the next time, but this is still not a case for any consideration on his program participation. Risk assessment, I think he's a risk. He escaped from prison. He took hostages. He brutally shot and killed somebody for no reason at all. I struggle in my position as district attorney. I want to do the right thing. The right thing in this case is to keep him incarcerated, deny his parole eligibility. We represent the families. The families were told when he was sentenced the first time, life without benefit, parole, probation, or suspension sentence. And when you tell somebody something, that means that's the way it's supposed to be. And I know the legislature comes and they make different rules and they have these different guidelines and rules and parole eligibility and maybe early release and compassion, clemency, and things like that. But we represent the families. And if the family comes to me and says, we strongly oppose this, I'm going to stand by them to the end. That's what we're supposed to do. He was awarded freedom. He received his freedom for 9 years. He was living a whole separate life until he got caught again. And after he got caught again, he's coming before the board and he's asking for consideration because he's 70 years old and I can't hurt anybody else. And, I need to be out. Well, they have consequences for your actions. And he has consequences ×2. He committed 2 crimes. I just ask the board and the committee to show some compassion for the family in this matter who have been grieving. They have lived in fear for 10 years and they just want closure to this. So we are in opposition to any kind of parole eligibility of Mr. Jenkins. Should I answer any questions or is that?
That's good. Thank you, sir. Okay, first off, Warden, I'm sorry I passed you up, Warden. Ms. Ambo, what you have to tell us about Mr. Jenkins?
I can tell you that Mr. Jenkins has been here a total of 53 years. He's a minimum A trustee. He's assigned to maintenance. He only had 19 DB reports, his last one being in 2008. He has taken, since the last hearing, he has taken victim awareness letter training, thinking to win life skills. As far as his education level, Mr. Chatelain believes that he's a legitimate candidate for a waiver of his GED requirements due to his age and his inability to complete the TABE test. He's very well mannered and a respectable inmate, said the staff here at LSP.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. How old were you when you committed this crime?
15 years old.
Okay. How is your health? Do you have any health problems?
Yes. I hurt my back some years ago.
Okay.
It's recurring. I walk with a cane now. And,
okay.
take
And
med-
so what was going on in your life at 15 years old? What were you doing? Were you drugging? Were you alcoholic or what? Because it looks
Nothing
like
like
you
that.
stole the gun that you used to shoot him with.
Right.
So
A kid running wild. That's the only explanation I have. The end result is that I messed around and did the wrong thing. I was using the rifle to hunt with, and I just happened to come through that bit of property, and I came across of it, and Mr. Trans seen me. I took off running. It's just a messed up kid that.
But tell me about this messed up kid. Why was he stalking? Why were you stalking them? Why were you beating on their trailer and walking around their trailer? Because it wasn't your first time on the property.
I went on his property once and didn't go back until I would say a week or so. Maybe I went across his property twice that I can remember. As for beating against the trailer, I have no idea where that come from.
All right. What did you learn from your victim accountability class?
Okay. Speaking with each other, we come to terms with the gravity of that the impact would occur, I should say, the gravity that it would put on the trash. And I had been looking at the films, or I should say DVDs, and one in particular where a young guy, the guy took he held him up. He was about 15 too. And I put myself in his shoes and also the victim. And it hurt my heart that the victim had to go through that much torment, especially when a kid, it was just a kid running wild, no home training, get with other guys and supply.
Can you tell them more what you learned in the victim accountability class?
Okay.
I think you're going a little off course. Let's go back to the victim accountability class.
We're trying to make amends, as I said, to the Trash family. I asked them, please forgive me for the horror that I caused them now and then, especially then. It should have never happened, and I'm very sorry that it did. I shouldn't have never been on this property those 2 times.
Gotcha.
But as I said, I don't know anything about beating on the house.
Okay.
Okay.
What else did you learn from victims accountability class?
Okay.
Right.
To continue, the victim awareness showed me that living soberly and staying out of harm's way, and getting with somebody that has a better report than I had.
Okay. I think I got that. Okay, okay, well, in Chicago, what did you do for the 9 years you were gone? Were you working somewhere?
Yes, sir.
What were you
My
doing?
first job was a simple washing dishes
Mhm.
at a nursing home, and I got through the city's where they supply you with a job and they take the finances out your paycheck,
Okay.
jobs like that. And let's see, my last job was working at a steel company, and that took me a long ways. And I always kept a job when if I decided to move on. That dishwashing job, the owner told me, he said, you got a long life. He knew what age I was. He said, you got a long ways to go. And at below minimum wages, this is not the place for you. So I decided to go on, and the next day look for another job. I got it, but no problem. They at the time, jobs then wasn't it was very easy to get. So I moved on.
And so you worked the whole time you were in Chicago?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
and you had a family?
Yes, ma'am.
And you applied, what did you apply for? Security guard or law enforcement position?
Law enforcement position.
That's why the illegal thing. Okay, I have no further questions. Turn it over to my colleague.
Tell me about your day right now. What do you do every day in prison?
Repair lawnmowers, weed eaters, and anything small engines, which I was going to get when I get out of here. Open up a little small engine repair shop to earn a living. Probably be doing that even on the side for another job. So I could do my best to keep a job to support myself.
Do you keep to yourself in prison, kind of?
Yes, I do. I've been able to do that for a long while. Just being a loner. My principal, Miss Holloway, she said for the records that I had once before, when I was 15, when I came before the court, she said that I was a loner, and but she was right. After looking at myself, and that's how I've been able to survive, being off to myself, and doing good most of the time.
Thank you. That's it.
So, Mr. Jenkins, you mentioned you have some health issues. Are you followed by mental health
Yes.
on a regular basis?
I would say so. Yes, ma'am.
Do you take any medications?
Yes, Elavil for I have a blood pressure problem. That's not uncommon for someone at my age. So
Right, Let's see. So Ms. Rubion, would you like to make your presentation?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Jenkins has been here a long time, and the Trask family has been hurting, real hurt for a long time. And we acknowledge that that pain is real and that pain is not going to disappear in their life. We understand and acknowledge their opposition, and it's understandable, and that opposition deserves respect. Nothing in this process or in Mr. Jenkins' request to be released on parole supervision is meant to minimize their suffering or minimize their loss. What he is here to do is express his accountability, and that is accepting the consequences of what's done and facing him. Granting parole for Mr. Jenkins today does not undo his conviction. It does not undo the time he served or undo the pain he has caused. It is about recognizing that Mr. Jenkins has now faced his actions. I've represented Mr. Jenkins for many years now, and I would encourage this board, if you would have the opportunity to question him again, to ask him about sitting in the victims awareness and accountability class, and for what was likely the first time in his life being given an opportunity to listen to other people in a facilitated setting talk about their crime and the impact that that had on other people. I have seen a shift in how Mr. Jenkins approaches it and thinks about and processes what his actions have caused. He has deep accountability and genuine remorse for what he's done. He doesn't excuse it or minimize it. He has shown his maturity, his rehabilitation, and that he is low risk. He has served very many years, over 40 years since the 80s. He is 70 years old. We know based on his age that he's aged out of criminal behavior. We know that. He's acknowledged his escape. He has pled guilty. He has taken responsibility for that. And he has been a very good inmate since he has been back in Angola, with very few write-ups in the many years that he's been here, with almost 20 years of no write-ups. He's maintained steady employment. He came here as a juvenile, and we know that juveniles' minds are not formed all the way. We know that they are capable of rehabilitation and change, and we see that in Mr. Jenkins. We also know that when Mr. Jenkins pled guilty, that is why, under the 610 changes in the law, Act 544, that he is eligible for parole, to honor that bargain that was made under the 10-6 laws. He has a plan. Parole Project has agreed. We have the letter here. You heard Mr. Huntley, to give long-term housing and support to Mr. Jenkins. They have a proven track record of helping transition people out of prison. Mr. Leroy knows, he's been here a long time. He knows that the world looks different, and that he will rely on Parole Project to help him navigate that, to get the papers and the housing and the resources. He has the commitment from the Parole Project. He has great remorse and accountability for what happened. Again, we don't minimize the Trask's pain. It is real. It is not going to disappear. But Mr. Jenkins has changed himself, and he has earned the opportunity to live differently and carry his life forward as a parolee outside of the gate. I'm available to ask any questions the committee may have for me. I welcome them.
No questions. All right, thank you, Ms. Rubion. We appreciate it. I think that that concludes our interview, and I believe we're prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Jenkins, you had your 9 years out, and you did good while you were out. You wasn't arrested, obviously. But, due to the pain that the victim's family is going through, the escaped and taken hostages, and my vote, strong law enforcement opposition, my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Byron.
I concur with Mr. Freeman for the same reasons. Deny.
Right, Mr. Jenkins, I'm concerned about your understanding of true understanding of the impact that you've had on this family. I appreciate what your attorney said. It looks like you did that victim accountability training just last year in 24. And you weren't real good at describing to us what happened. You say you think what happened. We know what happened. We have all the records. So, based on the opposition we've seen today here with us, and that's in the record by law enforcement, I agree with my colleagues. My vote today also is to deny you parole today. Good luck to you, sir. All right, good morning, Mr. Silva.
Good morning.
You introduce yourself, sir. Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Mike Silvo. DOC number is 310901.
All right, and counsel, would you introduce yourself, please, for the record?
Yes, good morning. Micah Sloan of the Louisiana Parole Project on behalf of Mike Silvo.
Thank you. And you have Katie Mino there with you. On Zoom, we have Mr. Silvo's sister, Yolanda Farlow, and Mr. Andrew Hunley with the Parole Project. So, Mr. Silvo, you've been through this process before, more than once.
Yes, ma'am, twice. This is my third time.
So we may do it a little differently this time. So let me just get started. You're classified as a third felony offender. You have, let's see, you were sentenced in 1992 for illegal possession of stolen things in Orleans Parish. Then in St. Tammany Parish, you were revoked. You were put on probation, but that was revoked in 2 times, 1995 and 1998. In St. Tammany Parish, in 2000, you simple escape and public intimidation. Then as a habitual offender, 2 counts of armed robbery. You're currently serving a sentence of 74 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Your parole eligibility date was August 1st, 2021. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So your case was assigned to me, so I'll take the lead. So first of all, we want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, how did you get in all this trouble, and why you think we should grant you an early release?
Okay. Well, I got in a lot of trouble back then, approximately 28 years ago, because of my faulty thinking. I actually believed at that particular time that people owe me something, so I kind of acted out and I started making irrational decisions. But Ms. Renaze, if you don't mind, I would like to take this opportunity to also apologize to the victims of my particular crime, because for many years I wanted to apologize to those men, Mr. Alan Norman, Mr. Michael Davis, and Mr. Stephen Durr. I knew that I couldn't contact those victims, but as many times I wanted to apologize to them that I just couldn't. I realized the impact of what I've done to those men. I realized the loss of security that those men may have encountered upon me committing this crime against them. I took things of value from those men and I threatened those men at the time I committed this crime. And I truly apologize to those men from the bottom of my heart. I took things of value from those men, which were guns, jewelry, and cash. And I realized the impact of the crime that I did and the impact that it could have had on society had those guns had got out into the public. But I'm glad those guns were retrieved by the ATF or the FBI. There's no justification for what I've done. If I can go back and change this and prevent this crime from happening, I would in a heartbeat. I wouldn't hesitate one moment to do that. With that being said, since I've been incarcerated, I've learned that the first investment, in myself was getting the help that I needed to get in order to get to where I'm at now, to be able to come before the board, as a man of integrity and as a man of honesty, and being able to admit to this crime. I'm no longer in a mindset to evade, or doing what I did. I take full responsibility of what I did. And I truly apologize once again. I can't apologize enough to those men. I put myself in those men's shoes. And if it was me, I wouldn't want those things to happen to me also. But I have been doing a lot of programming since I've been incarcerated. And I have set in my mind that, I was going to make the change, for myself. and I had to change my way of thinking and my attitude. So my way of thinking back then versus now, I'm more responsible now and I'm more mature now. I was immature back then. I was irresponsible. And if this board was to grant me parole this day after this hearing, then, I would be a positive impact on society, and being able to give back to kids and be able to explain my testimony, give my testimony to kids, and hope and wish that they don't go the same way that I went. Since I've been incarcerated, I've taken several programming, anger management. I facilitated anger management also. I've taken 100 hours. I facilitated 100 hours. I've taken Thinking for a Change. I've taken that was the residential drug abuse program that I facilitated as a mentor in a BMP, the behavior management program. So Ms. Renace, I've been putting forward every effort that I could to try to not only get help, but to also help and also to continue to help not only myself, but those men who I know are struggling also with some of the errors and some of the things that I've done.
All right, well, I'll have some more questions for you shortly. But first we'll hear from Warden Ambo.
Yes, ma'am. Inmate Silvio is a minimum B trustee. He's assigned to the generator repair school. He completed 100 hours. He's a certified mentor. He peer facilitate for anger management. He took trauma healing, victim awareness letter training. He's also a social mentor, and he took Tyro leadership. He has a low tiger, and staff seems to think that he's a very respectable inmate.
Thank you. Mr. Hunley, could we hear from you, please?
Andrew Hunley with Louisiana Parole Project, appearing to confirm to the board today that Mr. Silvo is a client of our organization. We were not involved with his previous 2 parole hearings, but we've been working with him over the last several months to prepare for his potential release and help him understand the things that he's going to have in front of him if he's released at this time. So if he were to be granted parole, we would be ready to take him into our residential reentry program, provide him with peer mentorship support, life skills training, wraparound services from our social work team, among other resources that our organization has to offer. In considering what we would like to propose to the board today, we're considering circumstances, Mr. Silvo's particular circumstances. He has a plan to move into a long-term residence address in Baton Rouge, which allows our organization to work with him more closely, because he's going to be in our area of service for the long haul. So what we're presenting to the board today is that we're requesting that he remain with us for a minimum of 3 months, but as long as 6 months. And we would like to obtain permission from the parole board once the point, we want to see him, his transition going well, that he starts his job, that he's able to maintain a job for a couple months, and that the transition over to his home life's going well. At that point, we would petition the board for permission for him to wholly move to his long-term address. We anticipate at a minimum that would be 3 months, but as long as 6 months. But we would petition the board before we would move him to get permission to move him to his long-term address in Baton Rouge. But even after that would happen, we commit to a year of case management and peer mentorship with our organization, as we do with all of our clients who leave our program. And I stand by ready to answer any particulars, questions you may have about his reentry plan. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Tina Farlow.
Yes.
Go ahead. You wanted to tell us a few words?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Tina Parole, and I'm here to speak on behalf of my husband, Mike Silvo. We've been married for 7 years, and during that time, I've come to know him not only as my husband, but a man with a big heart and strong values. From the very beginning, what stood out about him was his responsibility and his thoughtfulness. He loves his family unconditionally, and that love extends beyond what is shown through his actions, his patience, and his willing to be there for others. When I saw how deeply he cared for his family, I have also witnessed a man who has grown to love me and my family the same way. My husband and I speak daily, and we see each other bi-weekly. And through that time together, I've witnessed tremendous growth and determination in him. He's always eager to learn new things and use that knowledge to help those around him. He has motivated me to become a better version of myself and a better helpmate. He speaks of his goals and positive things he wants to do for the family and the community once he comes home. If the board chooses to grant parole and he is released to the parole project and completes what he has to do with them, he will be blissfully welcomed into our shared home to begin our life together. He will be held accountable by me, by myself, and other family members to not revert to prior behaviors that landed him in prison. Together, we will work toward goals that we have been discussing, such as staying gainfully employed and so that he can contribute toward our household and abiding by the rules set forth by the parole board and just really living a normal life. I truly believe my husband is ready to move forward as a positive influence in society. He has many goals and aspirations that will make him a valuable part of the community, and I fully support him in all his endeavors. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak on my husband's behalf and for considering him for parole.
All right, thank you. And on Zoom, we have Ms. Yolanda Farlow. Now, still can't hear you.
There we go. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right. First of all, good morning to you guys. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to speak on my brother's behalf. This is my only biological brother, and I love him dearly. I have watched him transition into the humble, God-fearing man you guys see sitting before you this morning. Through the course of the time he's been incarcerated, at the beginning, I was his voice of reasoning. Throughout those years, he then became my voice of reasoning. He was there for me at a very crucial time. I was raising 2 daughters, a young mom, and they were going through their teenage years. My brother was one of my biggest supporters, my confidant, and he helped me through some very challenging times in motherhood. Through that time, I would bring my daughters up to visit him. My oldest daughter is 29 years old. My brother was at the hospital when I had my daughter, and through his incarceration, I brought my kids to visit him so they know their uncle as if he has been home this entire time because we share such a close bond. Through this time on these visits, my brother would take my daughters, talk to them on a level where they can understand. And he really helped me get through some hurdles with them during those teenage years. From my 2 daughters, I have 6 beautiful, healthy grandkids that I love dearly. I don't know if you guys have grandkids, but they bring on a whole another dimension of love. My brother has kids of his own. One daughter he has is dealing with a life-altering situation that I know my brother can help turn around if he's given an opportunity to be home and be with her. He has grandkids that he hasn't had the opportunity to hold or watch take their first steps. And I want that for him. I need that for him because I know what it does for me. And he's so deserving of being a grandfather. He's a great father, a great brother, great son. When it comes to our parents, I'm the youngest of 4 kids. And our parents are up there in age, and it is their great hope and prayer to have their son home while they're still here. I've watched my mother cry more times than I can count or even think of. And to see the pain it brings her not to have her only son home, it breaks my heart. If you guys was to release him on, grant him the opportunity to come home, his release will not be in vain. For many years, I have watched him put his best foot forward for betterment. Our conversations are different. When we talk, he's very positive, spiritual, uplifting, motivated, and he's a great asset to me personally. When it comes to how he deals with situations or things of that nature, he chooses to go to his artwork. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see his artwork, but it is phenomenal. If you look at the detail, the passion, the patience that he has, it kind of exemplifies who he is as a person. He tries to give everything his best. His freedom is multidimensional. It not only changes his life, but everybody's lives around him. We truly want to see him home. He has a huge support system, financially, spiritually, emotionally. Anything he could possibly deal with, we are here for him. Accountability. We will not allow him to take any steps in a wrong direction. And honestly, I don't feel like we will have to hover over him to do the right thing, because doing the right thing is in him. It is what he wants. And to see how proud of himself he is, I'm elated by that, because, he didn't, just want to do the right thing and be a better person. To see that version of my brother, it brings me great joy. He has missed out on births, holidays, birthdays, graduations, christenings, weddings, all the things that families enjoy together. He's missed out on a lot of that. And if he's granted the opportunity to come home, I mean, it will not be taken for granted. If no one else knows, he knows the exact, he understands exactly what a bad decision can result to. And that is not just in that moment, but the many years that he can be punished for a bad decision. So I am very confident that he will make the right choices. He will be an asset to the community. I can remember bringing my grandson to visit him. My grandson is now 12. He would sit down and help him to color, teaching him to color within the lines. He is a leader. He is someone who wants to see people do better. He likes to teach. He likes to coach. And, for him to help people inside of the prison, that is fantastic. And his work can also be great to the people in the community as well. So many young men need mentorship. So I look forward to seeing him being in that position as well.
Right.
I want to thank the I'm sorry.
So can you wrap it up for us so we can move on?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on the very last part. I just want to thank the parole board, especially Micah, for believing in my brother and diligently working on his freedom. And I thank you, board, for the opportunity to speak on his behalf, and also for considering him for parole to be released to his family. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Ms. Sloan, I'd like to hear from you.
Thank you. As you know, Mr. Silvo is before this committee for the third time and as the best version of himself. At his last hearing, this committee commented that Mr. Silvo was moving in the right direction. It said he was almost ready for parole, but had a little bit further to go. That was over 3 years ago. And in the time since his last hearing, Mr. Silvo has never once slowed down and has continued to work tirelessly to address the shortcomings recognized by this committee and to prove through action that he is far removed from the immature and selfish 23-year-old who committed these crimes. As an example of his dedication and determination, when Mr. Marabella reflected back to Mr. Silvo at his last hearing that he showed anger, following his hearing, he quickly enrolled in anger management and was able to grasp those concepts so well that he became a facilitator of the program. Just since his last hearing, in addition to completing and facilitating anger management, he has completed victim awareness and victim accountability letter writing, the Moral Compass Mentor Training, the Tyro Leadership Program, a healing group with the Trauma Healing Institute. He has continued to serve as a mentor in the Behavioral Management Program. And he's earned a new technical degree, and he has been recommended for trustee. That is just in the time since his last hearing. And he adds these accomplishments to an already long list of certificates and programming. Mike Silvo might be the busiest client I have ever represented. And when you take a look at the long list of programs, educational coursework, volunteer opportunities, religious services, and hobbies that he engages in on a daily basis, you can see why he's so busy. And he doesn't do these things just for the good time or so that he can tell y'all about it. He does them because he always sees room for improvement in himself, and because he has a genuine interest in serving, supporting, and helping to guide others. During his incarceration, Mr. Silvo has earned technical degrees in electrical and generator. He has taken just about every program made available to him. As you've heard, he's facilitated on multiple occasions anger management, but also behavioral management, the residential drug addiction program, and 100 hours. He serves as a mentor, not just in programs, but in his daily activities. He volunteers as a spiritual advisor to sick offenders at the treatment center, and he volunteers on the CPR team through which he has literally saved several lives. These are only some of Mr. Silvo's accomplishments. To boot, as you've heard, he's an excellent painter and a musician. In fact, he won second prize for a painting at the rodeo this year. But rather than reserving these skills as only hobbies, he uses them to develop therapeutic and educational programming for others, which I think speaks volumes to who he is. The main underlying factors behind Mr. Silvo's transformation in prison were shifts in his values and the way that he responds to challenges or conflict. While he used to place value on his image, his wealth, his reputation, he now values safety, family, and the well-being of others. While he used to respond to challenge or conflict impulsively and with little consideration of how his actions might affect anyone other than himself, today he takes time to think through the issues he faces. He employs tools that he's gained through DOC programming, and he deeply considers the broader impacts of his actions before he acts. With new values and tools in place, Mr. Silvo is very well prepared to re-enter our community. He has proven over the past 28 years of incarceration that he is ready and he is determined to be of service to our community rather than a burden on it. He understands clearly and thoughtfully acknowledges the trauma and the physical harm he caused his victims and the impact his crime has had on the broader community and his family. He is deeply ashamed and embarrassed of how he's behaved in the past, and it's the remorse and the shame that motivates him to constantly work toward being better and doing better than he once was. There is no question that Mr. Silvo has made a widespread and positive impact on his community here at LSP, and it's time that we allow him to make that same positive impact outside in our community. Besides continuing on the path that he's on, there's not much more that Mr. Silvo can do in prison. He's proven that he's matured, that he's changed for the better, and that he is well prepared for life outside of prison. Though he will humbly admit that he is not perfect, as none of us are, he has learned through DOC programming when and where to ask for help when he needs it, and the importance of taking responsibility and learning from poor choices. These are lessons that will serve him well on the outside. From my personal perspective, Mr. Silvo has a more profound grasp on managing emotion and working through hardship than most people I meet on the outside. And it's for that reason, combined with his exhibited rehabilitation, that I feel confident that Mr. Silvo will not reoffend and will instead make a positive impact wherever he has the chance to. If Mr. Silvo was almost there at his last hearing 3 years ago, today he is there. Mr. Natsa, you asked him to continue to do his mentorship and to stay right up free, and he listened to you, and he's done just that. So I hope that this committee will take into consideration all of the hard work Mr. Silvo has put forth toward his rehabilitation and allow him the opportunity to continue that hard work out here with us. I join Mr. Silvo in humbly requesting that this committee grant him parole so that he may benefit from the Parole Project's reentry program, reunite with his family, and contribute to our community. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Silvo, who's James Farlow?
James Fowler is my birth name, man. That's the name I was born under.
So where's Silvo come from?
Silvo was a created name that I actually made up on the street, trying to evade the law, and I lied to the law, which I apologize for that. There's no excuse for me, for doing that. I was immature at that particular time, and ma'am, I thought I can evade trouble by lying, and I see that it led me nowhere. I'm not.
I get it. So let me, I got a few more questions for you. Since your last hearing, you were denied in 2022. But since then, as Ms. Sloan has said, you took victim awareness. And when we first got started, you wanted to apologize to your victims.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
So given, you mentioned the folks at the pawn shop.
Yes, ma'am.
And then, but there's also, with the escape, a victim there. And in each case, you threatened to kill them. And so after having gone through that victim training, tell me, how do you think you made those people feel?
Ooh, Ms. Renasa, I wish I can go back and undo those particular allegations and things that I've said to those people. Since taking victim awareness, my intensity to empathize and to have more respect for people now is more greater than it was then. I didn't have any respect for myself back then, so I didn't respect those people, and I apologize for that. If I can go back and undo it, I would. Like I said, I would in a heartbeat. There's no excuse for what I did, and I take full ownership of what I did. And what you say is absolutely correct. I don't have an intention of hurting anyone. I'm not a criminal. I would never do those things again, ever. And I apologize. Like I said, I apologize to that staff also. The impact to those men at that particular time was devastating.
Escape.
Yeah, of the escape, the impact of the escape upon the guy who I've threatened. I understand the loss of security that he may have had also with me threatening him, and and to be threatened by someone like that, it's traumatizing. So
You remember what you said?
Excuse me?
Remember what you said during the escape?
It was a lot of things that I was saying. I know I had threatened to beat him up, threatened to kill him. I was saying all kind of stuff, ma'am. I was acting out in an immature, irrational state of mind because I was mad. I was trying to seek some help, there's no justification for what I did. I was trying to seek some medical attention, and I was just acting out, just being mad at those guys because I thought that I wasn't, being heard.
I'll have my boys come down and kill you. That's what you told me.
Yes, ma'am. I don't.
Well, we'll move on. When, during your period of incarceration, when did you really come to accept accountability for your actions? What made you change there?
To be truthful with you, Ms. Renasa, when I first came to Angola, I kind of had a rough time in my way of thinking because I was still in a faulty thinking mind state. I've learned that the first investment, was investing in myself and being able to get the help that I needed. So to be truthful with you, ma'am, it took me 15 years to actually say, no, I'm not committing a crime ever again. I'm not, and that's to be truthful with the board. And because it was me being rough on myself and being tough on myself and asking myself the question of would I commit a crime or would I try to hurt anyone? So and like I said, it took me a long time to get it, man, but I got it now, and I promise you I won't ever do it again, ever.
All right. I think that concludes my questions. You got any questions, Mr. Freeman?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, how many children do you have?
I have two biological children, sir, and two children through marriage.
Okay, do you have any contact with your children?
Yeah, I talk to my son more often than anything. My daughter, she's going through a lot mentally. You know, I've been trying to reach out to her. I was in contact with her for a good little minute, but once she get in those modes, sometimes she's, you know, she veer off for a little moment, then she comes back. So I give her a space, and I try not to force too much on her because I know mentally she's going through some things. Since I've been incarcerated, and my incarceration took a toll on her also.
Okay, and how long exactly have you served on this charge?
Approximately 28 years.
28, okay. All right, thank you. No further questions.
No questions.
All right, Mr. Silvo, I don't see any other questions, so I'm prepared to vote. I saw you last and you've done what I asked you to do. And I think you've grown quite a bit even since then. So my vote today is going to be to grant your parole to the parole project plan for 3 to 6 months, a period of time that they determine is sufficient, and then on to your long-term residence plan. I would add special condition, though, that you do some community service. You're a mentor now, so I want you to speak to at-risk youth. You need to try to change some folks' lives and steer them in the right direction. I'm just one vote, though. Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Silva, I'm gonna concur with Ms. Renatza, but even though your wife has a plan right there in Baton Rouge, I just do not think 90 days is enough. I'm sorry, but you know, you had a bad disciplinary history. I really would like to see you there a year, but I don't know if they'll go for that, but I want you to have a minimum of 6 months. I mean, a minimum. And hopefully they'll keep close contact with you once you leave, because I think you're gonna need that direction at first. So that'll be my vote.
Mr. Byron.
Grant.
You served less than 40% of your sentence that was imposed. But I'm going to go ahead and concur with my colleagues and give you a shot with a curfew of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. NA and AA 1 time a week. Parole project for 1 year. Absolutely no contact with the victims or their family. And random drug screens.
Yes, sir.
And just remember, you serve less than 40%. If you get revoked, you're gonna have to do a lot more time. And we will revoke you if you violate.
All right. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Granted
Thank you.
parole.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Williams.
Yes,
Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
John Williams, 68991.
And you have counsel with you this morning. Good morning, Mr. Lancaster. Would you enter your name into the record, please?
Good morning, Ms. Renata. Robert Lancaster with the LSU Law Clinic here representing Mr. Williams.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Williams, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Vara, seated to my left. Your case has been assigned to him. So, Mr. Williams, you are classified as a first felony offender, currently serving a life sentence. You were sentenced in Lafourche Parish in September 1969 for a first-degree rape conviction, and your parole eligibility date was June of 2022. Is that information correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just acknowledge too that we have on Zoom your niece, Latasha Francis. She's going to speak on your behalf. And then Mr. Andrew Hundley with the Parole Project, and we'll be hearing from him shortly too. Mr. Byron.
How many years have you served in jail, Mr. Williams?
Excuse me?
How many years have you done?
52.
And since you've been in jail, what have you learned about yourself?
Well, I learned how to, through the classes that I've taken, I learned how to respect other folks and the crime that I did, it hurt, but I can't undo what has happened. All I could do is say I'm sorry and condolence to the family because I hurt them. I also hurt my family.
How old are you right now?
80.
Why do you think now would be a good time to grant you parole after all these years? What's your plan?
Well, I think that I'm ready through the classes and the courses that I've taken. I'm ready to go back out and be a protective person because I'm no longer the person that I used to be. I'm not that person anymore.
What's your day like in jail? What do you do every day? You have a job? What do you do?
Well, I put water out to the line, and when I have 2 jobs, I put water out to the line, and then I go to the processing plant. I operate a forklift.
Which class that you took was the most meaningful to you? Which one did you take that you learned the most out of that said, oh, this is
change.
Go ahead.
Thanking for a change.
Tell me about that. What you learned in there?
I learned how to respect my fellow man and to understand and think before you do things.
Have you ever been on any kind of supervision before?
On
parole, anything like that?
No, sir. I ain't been on parole.
How about probation?
I've been on probation.
For what?
Aggravated fighting.
Anything else?
No, sir.
How about possession of a sawed-off shotgun?
That was the same thing. That was the same thing.
What you mean the same thing?
I was on probation for.
And how did you finish that probation? How did it end?
That was I had gotten a fight in Homer, and they found the sawed-off shotgun in my car, but it was mine.
And how did that probation end? Did you successfully complete it? Or you got to do
Yes,
some
sir.
time over it?
No, I completed my probation. I had 2 years on probation.
We have a couple of people here to speak in support of you. We'll move on to those. We'll start with Mr. Hunley, since he's been first all day long.
Thank you. Andrew Hunley, representing Louisiana Parole Project, here to confirm to the board today that if John's granted parole, that we've accepted him into our residential reentry program. We stood by John at his previous parole hearing. We know the board asked him to complete some additional programming at his last hearing, which he has done. More importantly, and I also want to point out, my math may be a little bit better than his. I think he's served closer to 56 years, but
Yeah, that's right.
Me too.
But after 52 years, maybe you stop counting. But I just, he's done quite a bit of time. Our organization was actually active in getting that legislation passed. He is a 10-6 lifer who pled guilty to a life sentence at a time when a life sentence was a bit different than what it is today. But as far as the skin that our organization's willing to put in the game, I know we generally talk about how long someone will be in our program. With John, we anticipate that he would be a long-term client in our organization. I'd rather just say if at any point he ever left our program, we would get permission from the board. I anticipate that he will be in our program for the remainder of his years. We have housing specifically for sort of our older registered clients that have a community with themselves, and he would be in that program, in that housing unit, where he would have a case manager, but also access to our social work team to ensure that his expectations as someone who's registered in all the classes and such that he would have to take part in will ensure that he understands all those requirements and that he has a team that's working to get him to make sure he's meeting all compliance once he's on parole, just based on his record. And, obviously, many people in our organization, including myself, have known John for many years. We have no reason to believe that he will do anything other than comply with the expectations of our program and parole. After 56 years, our organization's just here to say that we're going to give him housing and give him all the help he needs to be successful once he reenters society. We expect him to be a good client with no issues, just based on what we know about him. I'll stand by to answer any questions you may have about his reentry. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we'll have Mr. Robert Lancaster, his attorney.
Yes, Mr. Barra. So Mr. Williams' institution for 56 years here at Angola is one that demonstrates compliance. Over that period of time, over 5 decades of incarceration, he's got 16 write-ups. The last one was in 1996. He's got the highest trustee status that he's able to get. He was given trustee status back in 1984 and has maintained that. There was a short period, I think in 86, where he lost it for a very brief period of time. But all of that demonstrates his compliance with expectations, his compliance with rules, It's a record that demonstrates a person very different than who he was at the time this crime was committed when he pled guilty in 1969. He has a low-risk Tiger score as well. He is 80 years old. He's very healthy. I understand the only medication he takes is for high blood pressure. He, has consistently worked, currently has 2 jobs. As Mr. Hunley mentioned, the Parole Project is going to support him on the outside if there's any additional programming that the committee deems appropriate. The Parole Project will work to meet that. Since his last parole hearing, where the committee did indicate that they wanted to see a little bit more programming, in January of 23, he completed Thinking for a Change, took that as the second time. He originally took it in 2017. He took victim awareness and victim accountability training. He completed that in February of 23. And then he finalized the sex offender phase 4 treatment in September of 23. One thing about Mr. Williams, and I've represented him at his last parole hearing. The clinic has had his case for a long time. 56 years at Angola, sitting down and talking with John, he's the type of person that you can talk to all day long. He's really a historian of this institution, his experiences at this institution. I've had a lot of that conversation about what work was like when he got here in 1969 and what he's done over that time. Just a few things that I just want to mention in all of that conversation over time that really indicates the institution's trust in him is, he mentioned, that he, takes out water to the line every morning. Well, part of that work is driving a truck around the institution. He's done that for quite some time. He's had jobs where he's driven a tractor with cotton on the, on a trailer on the back of it, across the ferry, across the river to the Gen. So the institution has demonstrated trust in John for quite a significant period of time. He's not someone that comes before the committee with a recent conversion. He's really demonstrated compliance, especially since no write-up since 1996. I understand he's come before the Pardon Board over his time here 3 times, and each time the board gave a recommendation for a reduction of his sentence. And he's here today with changes of the law that were made under Act 544, which did give parole eligibility to individuals who originally were sentenced prior to 1972 to life, where they did have eligibility after 10 years and 6 months. So this was a guilty plea. He recognized, took responsibility for his crime by pleading guilty. And at that time, the state, agreed to a sentence of life being eligibility for release after 10 years and 6 months. So for those reasons, we request that he be granted parole. Remaining, he'll live out the rest of his sentence under parole supervision with the Parole Project. If the committee has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you very much.
All right, next we have Ms. Latasha Francis Anise.
Good morning, board. I am Latasha Francis. I am the niece of Mr. John's younger brother. He's been in my life for a few years. He's always been a person that when he does call and I have anything going on in my family, he's always been that uncle that I can just tell anything to. Over the years, I've been by his side. I'll continue to be by his side. He's gotten older over the years since I've seen him, and it feels good to see him now. And I'm realizing all the accomplishments he's made since he's been in there. I've been aware that he drives the water truck. He works. He's pretty healthy. We keep in touch pretty often. He definitely has my support for as long as he needs it. I'm 40, but I remember as younger, my dad bringing us to see him, and he's always been this man that I see in front of me now. Humble, he made a mistake, he's learned, he's earned a true spot in my heart over the years. I don't have enough time to speak about all the things he's done over the years, but one thing I can tell you, he's been a second father to me. Ever since my dad died, he's definitely stepped up. And I'm not just saying it just to make it sound good. He's a true uncle. I really don't have, it's nothing I can't tell him. It's nothing he doesn't have advice for. He's always in good spirits when he calls me. I don't think I could ask for much more. And I just want to let the board know that I do love my uncle, and he is going to continue to have the support he's had over the years from me, no matter the outcome of this parole hearing. And I thank you all for your time. And if it's okay, I would like to tell him I love him if it's okay with the board.
Go ahead.
Uncle Johnny, I just want to let you know you continue to have my support, and I love you.
Thank you.
All right. We don't have any documented victim opposition or anyone here to speak regarding opposition. My colleagues have questions? With no questions, it'll be time to vote, and I'll vote first. So, Mr. Williams, today I'm going to vote to grant your parole to the Parole Project for Life. Also, I'm going to add the special condition that you complete all aspects of sex offender treatment and registration, that you have random alcohol and drug screens, and realize any violation of supervision would put you back in jail for the rest of your life. I'm one vote.
Mr. Freeman.
Okay, Mr. Williams, I don't think you're a threat to society anymore. My vote is gonna be to grant to the Parole Project, and you're not to leave without permission of the board. I do want to note that you're on your static 99, you scored a -3, which is very, very low risk of reoffending. And that's my vote today. My vote's to grant to the Parole Project.
All right, Mr. Williams, I saw you the last time you appeared, and you were encouraged at that time to complete the sex offender treatment. You've done that. So my vote is the same, to grant your parole to the Parole Project with those special conditions stipulated by Mr. Byron. Good luck to you.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Warden, that concludes our business. We're going to sign off at 11:44. Thank you.
And I took care of what you asked me.